I ain't been broke in a minute. I'm tryna run these digits. Put my little bro in the penny. We hop at the car with extensions. These niggas be pistols, they switching. Playing with bro, then you go on the mission. Me and my niggas, we all on the mission. Focus on money, ain't worried about bitches.
Yo, what is going on, y'all? It's your boy VeLL, and we're back with another Mobile Legends video. In this one, we're going to be talking about a very big topic. So this is going to be more so on mindset when it comes down to playing the game. This is going to be about basically exposing your own weaknesses and using them against your opponents. Because certain things you just know, like Cyclops. You see a Cyclops jungle, what are you gonna wanna do if you're on the other team? If you're good, you're gonna wanna invade a lot, which means you just set your enemies up if you know what you're doing. That means you know exactly what the enemy team is gonna wanna do. You know exactly where they're gonna wanna be. Now, what can you do to ambush them when they try it? Or what can you do if you don't wanna go for an ambush type of comp? What can you do so that even if they invade you, you're still gonna be very hard to take down? Like, the thing is, in Mobile Legends, people try to go for the same heroes, they go for the same strategies because they believe that that's what's meta, not realizing that you create your own meta. You can play things that maybe it wouldn't make sense in certain context. Like, for me to try to play Cyclops the same way that you would play a freaking Julian, that would be insane. That, like, to play Cyclops like you would play a Fanny, that would be insane. It's like, so why even attempt things like that? Why do things like that? When you have a Cyclops, a weird pick like Johnson is actually not bad. Why? Because no matter if I'm fed or not fed, with Johnson, when he actually hits and crashes into an enemy, they get stunned. Then I pop my ultimate and they get stunned even longer. And then with the Cyclops burst damage, Cyclops will just burst them down. So that makes up for the fact that maybe I'm more invadable, but when we attack you, it's still gonna hurt a lot. It doesn't matter. Like, you can take my farm, you can jungle well and all that stuff. Like, early game Cyclops, not even level 4. Yeah, I went down. They caught me lacking, man. They caught me lacking. But yeah, and you have to know your weaknesses. So if you're weak in an early game, don't take many early game fights. Even though I personally don't believe Cyclops is very weak early game at all, to be honest. I think that his attacks just has to be more focused. So you can't be surrounded by all the enemies like that. That's just going to be crazy because you don't do enough damage to where one orb will sit out here and destroy everybody. Like, you don't do that type of damage. Not going for objectives with a Cyclops and a Johnson combo. We're not going for Turtle. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, essentially, if you play something very, very well and you know all the weaknesses to what you play, that means you can use those weaknesses and use the fact that you know your enemies are going to know those weaknesses, use it to your advantage and find a way to twist it and turn it to something that benefits you. That's what I love about certain picks where you know the enemies will invade, you know what the enemies are going to do when you pick something. But it's like, so what people do is they decide just to not choose the pick. I don't want to get invaded, I'm just not going to use that pick. When in reality, you could just pick a pick that has synergy, pick a whole team comp that has synergy with that pick, and it changes the game. But what happens in Mobile Legends is people don't like to use untested strategies, and they don't want to test their own strategies. They only want to do something if they've seen a pro do it because they know that it works. People in Mobile Legends are just lazy. They think something is strong as soon as they see someone else doing it at a high level and it's working. They're like, oh, I can do that at my level. But this is why lower elo is so easy, because everyone is sitting here trying to play like a pro, not realizing trying to play like a pro is what's making you not play like a pro right now. In the context of playing in the MPL or playing at one of those events, what the pros are doing makes sense. But sitting here trying to play like a pro in low elo is part of the reason you're trash. Because in low elo, for instance, if you're a jungler in low elo and you're trying to play like a pro, you're probably not going to be pushing many towers yourself and stuff like that. But if you're playing solo and you're in low elo, the only way that you're going to win and make it to a higher elo is if you're pushing a lot of towers. So it's like you have to play different based on the scenario, and that's what pros understand. They do certain things for certain reasons. They're trying to counter a specific team. They're trying to counter a specific strategy. But the average viewer don't realize what they're doing. They don't realize what they're trying to counter. They don't realize the logic behind what they're doing. They just see that what they're doing is working, but they don't even really understand why it's working and what's the use case for that specific scenario. So that's a big issue in this game. Like, look at this. So as you can see, the Johnson going in there. Like, it's still early game. I don't have my life still yet or nothing. So Cyclops is supposed to take a few deaths early game. The enemies are invading, which they're supposed to do early game. And this isn't a full 5-man or anything. So, I mean, you're going to take some losses. You're going to take some L's. That's bound to happen. But it's all about how you end the game. Because the longer the game goes on, the more dangerous a pick like Cyclops is going to be. And people don't even realize how strong Cyclops actually is. You hear all the time that, oh, in the higher elo, this is going to happen. In the higher elo, that's going to happen. They're just going to invade you and bully you and things like this. And it's like, so you're and people don't realize how crazy they sound when they say stuff like that. So let me get this straight. You're a good enough player that you can sit here and predict everything the enemy is going to do if you use that pick in high elo and it didn't cross your mind for a second to counter what you already know that they're going to do. You know what they're going to do and you're not going to counter it? That makes you the bad player. That doesn't make them the good player or the pick the bad pick. It makes you a bad player for knowing every single thing the enemy is going to try to do to you and you doing nothing to stop it. So what I would challenge players to do who really want to improve, really want to change your thought process, mindset, and really start to adapt and get to another level of playing this game is use picks that everyone knows how to stop and figure out how to stop them from stopping it. That's when people know how to counter build. You know how to counter pick. You know how to counter build. You know how to counter certain things. But can you counter entire strategies? Can you counter strategies? Because that's where it gets more complicated. Okay, how do you stop a Cyclops from being invaded? Do you want to have those conversations? Can you figure that out? What combination of heroes can you protect the Cyclops with and make your jungle uninvadable? Do you even want to go the route where you make your jungle uninvadable, or do you want to boost Cyclops damage using a pick like Johnson? You see, like with the Johnson pick, you pull up on somebody unexpected all immediately and you just blast them. You get them out of there. So it's so many different things that works and so many different ways you can approach the game. And I think that everyone tends to all approach the game one way. Follow the pros, do what they do. It's tested. We know that it works. But that's going to keep you at a low level, that mindset. It's going to keep, there's some things you can learn from a pro, like maybe rotations and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit about mechanics, some things or some tricks that you didn't know. But as far as finding a strategy that works for you, what pros do is usually tailored towards them, their play styles, their strengths, and their weaknesses. That's how pros tend to approach the game. If you're not approaching the game that way and you're just copying pros, you're probably not that great of a player yourself. So that's not really going to end well for you, and you're not ever going to really be able to get to a level where you're a massive threat to people. So yeah, it's all about mindset, man. Like this video, I really wanted to shift some mindsets and get you all thinking outside of the box. Everyone kind of puts themselves in these thinking boxes where you restrict your thinking to what pros are doing and stuff like that. Certain pick like Johnson isn't necessarily a meta pick, neither is Cyclops, but you put them together and they can be insane. Like, look at that. You put them together and they can be insane. Two non-meta picks put together changes the meta quite a lot. And this is what I mean by you create the meta. Now, I know some people is like, oh, I can think of a comp right now that would stop that. You would be surprised how fun a game can be if you think about what's meta and how you can try to stop this combo And we keep thinking about, okay, that's a nice combo, that's a nice counter. Now, how can we counter that? You're going back and forth, playing chess, and you would be surprised the level that both teams start to play at, thinking that way, where you're slowly countering each other back and forth. That is what it means to play at the highest level possible. It's you make a move, I make a move. Let's see whose move is better. Let's continue to counter. Let's continue to improve this move. That's how you grow as a player. That's how you improve. Most players just, let's try this strategy we saw Onik do. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let's do it again. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing the same thing over and over and over? Every single game of Mobile Legends should be different. Every single game should be different, man. But most games of Mobile Legends are never different. As you can see, looks like we trapped here. They done pushed us back. They pushed us back. They got a little map control right now. But what people are sleeping on is the fact that I've been just getting fed this whole time. I've been doing my numbers, putting up some damage and stuff like that. But as you can see, like, I'm gonna start hurting. So the fact that we're pushed back this far, it doesn't actually matter. You see how much I damaged Lord, and I took Lord down quick. Like, certain picks that slept on, people don't even know what they're capable of. They don't know how quick Cyclops can burst down Lord, because Cyclops is just not a common thing to see. They don't know how annoying Johnson can be driving up just smacking you, because no one is using him like that. So there are situations and scenarios where certain picks and certain things can complement one another so well that it is actually good, and it's actually very much meta. There is those situations. They keep catching me lacking. Carry going crazy right now. They on the run. Got that Tig out of there. But yeah, man, it's insane. You really would be surprised. You would be surprised to find out what picks could work if you only took the time to come up with a strategy that fits that pick. You know what everyone's doing. Everyone's doing the same strategies. Why don't people just sit down, take a little bit of time and figure out, okay, so they rotate like this, they do this. How can I disrupt that rotation? What combination of heroes can I throw together to disrupt rotations like this? What combinations of heroes can I put together to do this? Or what combination of heroes can I put together to do that? It's like, people don't do that for themselves. People think, oh, pros are doing this, so that must be how it's supposed to be done. Blindly trusting pros is the most noob thing that I think that you could possibly do. Because pros don't even really know what. This is why pros have coaches. They're not trying to think and be strategists and stuff. Everyone's not a player that does that. They're not trying to. This is why coaches exist in the first place. Every player is not trying to do that, man. What you got to understand is that when you are a player capable of doing that, it sets you apart as a player. But this is why usually being a player and being a coach is two separate roles, because it's not common to see people who can do both. Dang. Somebody get that Tig Emmanuel. And him. What is he doing? They're trying it. They're trying it. They were trying it. It's a late game Cyclops they going against though. It's not likely they gonna accomplish what they setting out to. Not against a late game Cyclops. A late game Cyclops is crazy. Look at her taking my buff. You see who's carrying the game and she's running around taking my buffs, bro. That's crazy. Like, but this is what randoms do, man. When you get randoms on your team, look at that. Name is Solo Q Love. And then she stepped out of the bushes, so that took the vision off of the child, which made my ultimate go to the creep. Amazing. What is this man thinking, bro? Now that tank's down, we could really push here. Yeah, so we're gonna put some pressure on this lane and try to get some towers, and we can handle ourselves. So we're kind of hard to stop. Looked like he wanted to hunt somebody down. Yeah. Dang. Late game Cyclops, man. Late game Cyclops is worse than a marksman. Some dirty things will be done to you going against that, man. But yeah, I just hope that one day we can see a shift where people's mindsets and approach to this game actually changes and advances to a level where, oh snap. Yeah, advances to a level where we can essentially see different types of combinations of heroes through together. Like imagine a Cyclops, right? Where you put Hanzo on a side lane or something weird like that, or in the mid lane. So anytime they try to invade you, he just goes in he clears his lane wave quick and he goes into his ult form where let's see the stats. He goes into his ult form where he can now assist you in the jungle even if he wasn't there. It's like stuff like that, like just figuring out little tricks and stuff that can actually work and be valuable. So yeah, as you can see, domination, we just destroyed them. I was involved in 65%, Sen was involved in 68%. We went crazy. So yeah, that combination, it worked. It worked very, very well. Star did his numbers as well. That was the trio we was playing with. But yeah, let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. Definitely have more content and stuff coming like this, going over mindsets, thought processes and stuff like that. Stuff that's very, very important and critical to start thinking about if you want to improve as a player. I mean, a lot of players just only follow pros thinking that that's the way that you're going to stand out. Every single player in the game is trying to only follow pros. You're never going to stand out that way. But yeah, let me know what you all think. Drop that thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out, fam.